Welcome back, my dear followers. This is a new episode of the history of the American Mafia, the true story of the American Mafia, brought to podcast by Fabio Fabiano and translated and read by me, Grace Catlisi. I hope you enjoy this new episode. The Death of Maranzano. Maranzano dies, and with him they buried the mafia known till today, giving birth to Cosa Nostra. After winning the Castellamarese War, Salvatore Maranzano was the most important mafia godfather of his time. He was the boss of bosses. Although he had introduced some modern methods modifying the mobsters' organization, to many younger members he was perceived as baffone, which literally means mustache, but we can translate it as a way of saying he was an old-school mobster, too immersed in old-world ways. He disliked Luciano's collaboration with non-Italian gangsters like Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel, and the controversy with those who represented the new generation of up-and-coming gangsters like Vito Genovese and Charles Lucky Luciano were becoming more and more frequent. Maranzano at the beginning of September devised a plan to kill Lucky Luciano and Genovese. He had met the Irish hitman Vincent Mad Dog Coll and told Coll to contact him a week later. They agreed for a fee of $50,000, half in advance and half after the job was completed. Now, you're probably all asking the same legit question. Why did Maranzano contact the Irish killer Vincent Mad Dog Coll? Well, before I answer that question, let's take a look at what Coll was doing up at that moment in time. Coll was wanted by police in connection with a shooting in which a 5-year-old boy, Michael Vangeli, had died and 4 other children were injured in the attempted murder of a rival mobster, Joey Rao. It was July the 28th, 1931, in Harlem on 107th Street, as crowded as usual with residents and children playing until the late hours of the evening. There, 14-year-old Frank Scalisi ran a lemonade kiosk. Joey Rao, Dutch Schultz associate and arch-enemy of Vincent Mad Dog, was a regular at the kiosk. 7-year-old Salvatore Vangeli was playing in the street with his 5-year-old brother Michael and Samuel Devino, same age. With them was 12-year-old Florence D'Amelio, with her 3-year-old cousin Michael Bevilacqua. At 6:30 p.m., the children's joyful laughter turned into screams of terror as a green sedan with 5 men aboard stopped in front of the kiosk. The men from the car fired rifles and machine guns at Joey Rao, who managed to take cover. The children started screaming and running. The adults threw themselves on the ground. After about 60 shots were fired, the car turned into 3rd Avenue and disappeared. Joey Rao was unharmed and fortunately also the owner of the kiosk, young Frank Scalisi. The 5 children, however, weren't as lucky. Florence D'Amelio was shot in her right shoulder trying to protect her cousin Michael Bevilacqua, who was sitting in the stroller and was hit by 2 shots in the back. Samuel Davino was shot in his right leg, and Salvatore Vangeli was shot 3 times on his left side. Fortunately, all 4 of these children survived. Sadly, that wasn't the case for Michael Vangeli. The 5-year-old could not be saved despite the surgeons who had operated him had done everything they could. A mysterious witness had given Vincent Coll's name, identifying him as one of the gangsters taking part in the shooting. New York Police Department offered $10,000 for anyone who provided useful information. Newspapers also offered rewards. Police Commissioner Edward P. Mulrooney ordered to shoot on sight in the event that an officer encountered Coll. It was the press that had nicknamed him Mad Dog Coll. But in reality, at the end of the investigation, the Irish gangster was acquitted for not having committed the fact. But let's get back to September the 10th, 1931, when Cole went to meet Maranzano in his office. Cole had been given an advance of $25,000 and had been told to return that afternoon to finish the job and collect the rest of the money. It was in fact there in that office he was to encounter Luciano and Genovese, as they had been summoned by Maranzano. But unfortunately for Maranzano, the situation took a completely different turn. Luciano, thanks to Lucchese, had been informed of the boss of bosses' plans. The counter-move devised was the opportunity to permanently eliminate Maranzano. Amongst his wrongdoings, Maranzano had trespassed his illegal activities into the Jewish labor racket in Manhattan. Therefore, Luciano had convinced his Jewish gangster friend Meyer Lansky to entrust him with Samuel Red Levine and 3 other gangsters to go to Maranzano's office on the 10th of September 1931. The killers, being Jews, were unknown to the bodyguards of the Castellamarese boss. Furthermore, Lucchese had informed Luciano that Maranzano was waiting for a visit on behalf of agents of the Treasury for an inspection, and to avoid having problems with the police officers, he had ordered his bodyguards to watch unharmed. The killers, disguised as policemen showing Treasury Department badges, entered Maranzano's luxurious office on Park Avenue. Salvatore Maranzano's Eagle Building Corporation office was on the 9th floor of the New York Central Building at 230 Park Avenue. Once inside the office, the assassins immobilized the bodyguards, then stabbed and shot to death Salvatore Maranzano, who put up a desperate resistance. As they fled down the stairs, they met Cole on his way up to meet Maranzano. They warned him that there had been a police raid, and therefore he too had fled. Cole, relieved he had escaped the blitz, was disappointed he had lost the $25,000, but still had made as much without doing anything at all. After the death of Maranzano, Luciano and his accomplices reorganized the 5 families and abolished the position of boss of bosses. Most of Maranzano's crime family was inherited by Giuseppe Bonanno and is still known today as the Bonanno family. Many trace the birth of Cosa Nostra back to the death of Salvatore Maranzano.